Welcome to Chapter 4. In this section, we'll be talking about how to initiate a response effectively to set your team up for success. And here's the thing, mission success begins long before the tones drop. Most people think of response as starting the moment the tones drop or when the first truck rolls out. But in reality, a successful rescue operation begins before that. Well before the incident even happens. Before any emergency takes place, we're already laying the groundwork. Hazard analysis, rescuer training, and pre-planning for specific incident types should be carried out regularly. These are the steps that ensure you're ready when that call does come in. Think of it like preparing for battle. The more we plan, the smoother things will go when we're in the thick of it. Pre-incident planning and the ability to immediately implement what we've planned are what contribute to an overall positive incident outcome. A great way to ensure we're always ready is to remember PACE. The primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency plans. If our primary plan doesn't work, we have alternatives lined up, because things rarely go as expected, and it's crucial to have backup plans in place. By having a clear plan in place, knowing the possible risks, and ensuring that everyone's trained and ready, you're giving your team the best shot at success. It's not just about being reactive, it's about being prepared and proactive. Let's jump right in with the next step, preparing for mission success. As we discussed earlier, mission success begins prior to the call. That means we can't wait until the tones drop to start thinking about what needs to be done. We need to prepare long before the incident occurs. There are a few key tasks that should be performed ahead of time to set us up for success when the call comes in. Hazard analysis. By identifying the risks and potential dangers in our response area, we can make informed decisions and respond effectively. Rescuer training. We can't afford to wait for the moment of crisis to figure out what to do. Training prepares our team to respond quickly and efficiently. Pre-planning specific incident types. Whether it's rope rescue, confined space, or water rescue, knowing how to handle the specific risks involved in different incident types will help us respond appropriately. These actions, hazard analysis, training, and pre-planning, are essential for advanced preparation. And when we immediately implement this preparation during an actual rescue, we increase the chances of a positive outcome. Now, let's talk about the importance of pre-planning. Having written pre-plans is a huge advantage when it comes to rescue operations. A good pre-plan allows us to identify hazards in the jurisdiction, so we know what we're up against before the call comes in. Specify required rescue capabilities, so we're clear on what resources we need. Establish operational procedures for rescue tasks, ensuring everyone knows what to do when the time comes. The formal documentation of these plans has even more advantages. It serves as a reference for training new personnel, ensuring that everyone's on the same page. It helps us avoid the pitfalls of assuming that team members know how to accomplish specific tasks without proper guidance. Pre-plans also show compliance with regulations and can be incredibly useful in liability cases. By creating these well-written plans, we're setting ourselves up for success in the long run. It's a framework we can adapt to specific incidents as they arise. Next, let's take a look at Incident Action Plans, IAPs. These plans are especially useful for multi-agency responses because they provide reference points for common goals across all responding agencies. Intentions for the rescue, what the plan is and how it's going to unfold. Roles of the rescuers, who's responsible for what during the operation. Incident-specific responsibilities, these ensure every responder knows their specific tasks. IAPs keep everyone aligned and make sure that each agency is on the same page as the rescue unfolds. While pre-plans give us a strong framework, IAPs developed during the response cover incident-specific topics and provide the necessary flexibility for the operation. Now, we all know that in this line of work, there's one thing you can always count on, the unexpected. So, here's a joke to lighten the mood. Why did the incident commander bring a ladder to the rescue? Because they were hoping to take their command to the next level. All joking aside, pre-plans should provide us with the insight and consistency we need, but without getting too specific. Why? Because being too specific in a pre-plan may actually limit its application across different incidents. As we develop an IAP based on our pre-plan, we need to ensure we cover some key concepts, including jurisdictional and operational responsibilities for rescue, including how to contact external resources with specialized capabilities and the necessary radio frequencies. Incident type and location hazard documentation, which should include maps of known hazards, local businesses, and site-specific hazards. Standard rescue operation protocols, such as activating appropriate resources and following operational guidelines for various types of rescues. Establishing air ambulance coordination, including landing zones, coordinates, and known aerial hazards. Incident review procedure, because every operation should be followed by a debrief to identify lessons learned and areas for improvement. Now let's dive into initial response, one of the most critical phases of any rope rescue operation. The first responders on scene play a key role in setting the stage for a successful rescue. When responders arrive, they may not be the actual rescuers but should still be able to recognize the need for a rope rescue response and immediately start organizing. This is where awareness-level responders come into play. They need to be alert to the situation and ready to take action. So, what do initial responders need to do? Well, they should recognize the need for rope rescue. This includes identifying hazards like potential falls, past incidents at the same location, or activities the subject was engaged in. Identify the required resources, whether that's additional personnel, equipment, or specialized tools. Activate the emergency response system. We need to ensure the right help is on the way. Establish site control and scene management. Cordoning off the area is a must to keep bystanders safe. Recognize hazards and mitigations. This ensures we're addressing any risks that might interfere with the rescue. Use the correct PPE. Personal protective equipment is critical, so make sure everything's in place before engaging with the rescue. Initial responders also need to be alert to the clues that indicate when a rope rescue is necessary. Here are some things to look out for. Potential fall hazards. Is the subject in an area where they could fall? Previous incidents. Has this area seen similar issues in the past? The subject's activity. Were they working at height, or could they be at risk for falling? Potential for rescuer or subject to fall. Are any team members or the subject themselves at risk? Sometimes, bystanders may not realize the need for rope rescue, and that's where you come in. When there's a potential for a fall, rope rescue should be initiated immediately. It's also essential that untrained personnel are kept away from the hazard zone to avoid further risk. Your first job as an awareness-level responder is to size up the scene and determine the correct response. That means gathering information from the responsible party, activating the emergency response system, establishing command, and providing safety to both rescuers and bystanders. Remember, the initial response may not always be about jumping straight into the rescue. It's about setting up for success, ensuring everyone's safety, and preparing the scene for the proper response.
Colorado 157. Respond. You got any additional information on 3920? This code is some kind of rescue. Unknown. 57, 10-4.
Now that we've covered the initial response, it's time to talk about activating the emergency response system. Once the initial responders have assessed the situation and identified the need for a rope rescue, it's crucial to activate the emergency response right away to ensure that the correct resources are mobilized. The first step is contacting dispatch to activate the system. This is generally how we get the ball rolling and make sure that help is on the way. Resources may come from within your agency. This could include internal teams, equipment, or personnel. Aid agreements with neighboring agencies. If additional support is needed from outside your department, these agreements ensure help is readily available. Private sector resources. Sometimes we need specialized equipment or expertise, and the private sector can fill that gap. It's important to remember that additional resources may need to be dispatched depending on the nature of the incident. Here are a few scenarios where you might need more support. Nighttime car over the edge incidents. You may need extra lighting to safely perform the rescue. Utility incidents. If power needs to be shut off, you'll need cooperation from the utility company. Landslides or excavations. These incidents may require heavy equipment to assist with the rescue. Collapse incidents. You might need shoring and supplies to stabilize the scene before you can rescue anyone. Tower rescue. When dealing with towers, input from the owner of the structure is necessary to understand safety concerns. Extended duration. If the rescue is going to take a while, you'll need food and sanitation for the responders to make sure they can continue working effectively. Farm or machinery incidents. These may involve chemical or engulfment hazards, requiring additional safety measures and resources. Remember, activating the response system is more than just getting people to the scene. It's about ensuring you have the right resources, including specialized equipment and expertise, to handle the specific demands of the incident. This is where good coordination and planning come into play. As we move into understanding the command structure, it's important to note that National Incident Management System, NIMS, provides a framework that's scalable and applicable to most incidents. NIMS has been developed to standardize how agencies interact during emergencies, ensuring that we're all on the same page, no matter how large or complex the incident. There are 3 guiding principles that NIMS focuses on. Flexibility. The system can adapt to different types and sizes of incidents. Standardization. It ensures that the same terminology, processes, and roles are used across all agencies. Unity of effort. NIMS helps ensure that multiple agencies can work together while maintaining their respective authorities. By adhering to these principles, organizations are able to support one another efficiently, without stepping on each other's toes. This unified approach is essential for effective operations. NIMS is broken down into 3 distinct components. Resource management. This involves managing resources before, during, and after an incident. It ensures we have the right tools and personnel at the right time. Command and coordination. Leadership roles and processes are defined here to make sure everyone knows who's in charge and how operations will be managed. Communication and information management. This ensures that the right information is passed to the right people at the right time. In rope rescue operations, this structured approach is critical to ensuring that resources are deployed effectively, and every team member is clear on their roles. The first arriving responder assumes the role of Incident Commander, IC, and establishes the command point. This is where the overall operation is directed and managed. The IC may be relieved by someone with equal or greater qualifications as the incident grows in scale. When establishing command, it's important that there's clear radio communication, accountability, and access to resources. The IC needs to have a full view of the operation, even if they can't be on the ground for every part of the rescue. One key concept here is span of control. This means the IC should ideally have no more than 5 direct reports to maintain effective oversight. We don't want anyone to be tasked beyond their ability to manage. In the Incident Command System, ICS, there are 5 major functional areas. Command, the overall leadership, including the IC. Operations, where the tactics are executed. Planning, where the incident strategy is formulated. Logistics, ensures that all resources and supplies are available. Finance/administration, handles incident-related financial matters and documentation. Each of these areas has specific roles and responsibilities. As the scene expands, these roles might be assigned to different chiefs. Collectively, they are known as the General Staff. In a FEMA or EMA textbook world, each chief will have distinctive identifiers, like helmet tags or vests, so everyone knows who's handling what. However, in a real operation, it's likely to be much more fluid and flexible, depending on the resources available and the evolving needs of the incident. What matters most is that roles are clearly defined and communicated, even if the exact identifiers may shift as the situation develops. The goal is always clear: maintaining effective coordination to ensure a successful operation. As the incident grows, roles may expand to address the increasing complexity of the operation. The General Staff will be responsible for ensuring that each section runs smoothly. Whether it's handling logistics, coordinating operations, or managing safety, these General Staff members are key to the success of the operation. As noted earlier, in a FEMA textbook world, new roles or responsibilities are often clearly identified with specialized helmets or vests to maintain the command structure. However, in a real operation, it's important to remain flexible and adaptive. While visual identifiers are helpful, roles may shift based on needs and available resources. Regardless of the specific identifiers, the most important thing is that each new role is clearly communicated, whether it's over the radio or through direct interaction, to ensure effective coordination and the success of the mission. The planning section plays a crucial role by gathering and analyzing information, which is shared across the team to ensure everyone has situational awareness. The operations section is where the tactics are executed. The IC is responsible for developing the Incident Action Plan, IAP. For smaller incidents, the IAP can be verbal, but for larger or more complex operations, it should be written to ensure consistency and clarity. The IAP is constantly evolving as new information arises, ensuring the plan stays relevant to the situation. Using the ICS framework for rope rescue operations offers several key benefits. It ensures the efficient use of resources. It ensures personnel accountability, so everyone knows where they need to be and what they need to do. It promotes an improved mutual aid response, which is essential when multiple agencies are involved. Multi-agency operations can coordinate seamlessly under ICS, using agency liaisons and unified command practices. Additionally, the use of emergency operations centers, EOCs, allows leaders from various agencies to come together and form an integrated command team, ensuring everything runs smoothly. A key principle in ICS is unified command, which brings multiple agencies together to form a cohesive, integrated leadership team. Each agency will assign an IC to work with ICs from all other responding agencies, working together to achieve common objectives and strategies. This structure ensures that each agency's expertise and resources are fully utilized, and everyone is working towards the same goal with a unified strategy. In any rescue operation, it's essential to have the right command staff in place to ensure that everything runs smoothly. While some positions are always necessary, others are important to have when needed. The safety officer is a must-fill position. This role ensures that safety protocols are followed and that the safety of all personnel, responders and bystanders, is maintained throughout the operation. The Public Information Officer, PIO, and Liaison Officer are roles that are important but may not always be necessary depending on the size of the incident. The PIO communicates with the public, media, and other stakeholders, while the Liaison Officer serves as a point of contact between agencies involved in the operation. In larger or multi-agency operations, it's critical that the PIO and Liaison Officer are brought in as needed to manage information flow and coordination between agencies. Ultimately, ensuring that we have the safety officer in place at all times is the priority, and the other two positions should be filled based on the nature and scope of the operation. As soon as we arrive on scene, site control becomes a priority. The first thing we need to do is establish and maintain control of the scene and the perimeter areas. This is key to ensuring the safety of the subject, the rescuers, and bystanders. We start by identifying and marking hazard areas. This helps everyone stay clear of dangerous zones and ensures that no one unknowingly walks into a hazardous area. If law enforcement is available, they can assist with controlling the perimeter and keeping people out of the danger zone. The control area should extend beyond the subject and any identified hazards. We can use various tools to mark these areas, such as tape, rope, cones, or markers. The idea is to make sure everyone knows where the danger lies. To help manage the scene effectively, we use a 3-zone system for hazard areas. Hot zone. This is the area of critical functions, typically extending about 100 feet around the incident. Warm zone. This is the area for support functions, like staging and medical aid, typically extending 200 feet from the incident. Cold zone. This is the command and control area, extending about 300 feet from the scene to keep it clear for incident coordination. These zones help us define who is allowed where and make sure that only the right personnel are in the most dangerous areas. Keep in mind that the distances may vary depending on the severity of the incident and the size of the scene. Scene management doesn't stop once you've established your zones. It's ongoing throughout the entire incident. This includes keeping an eye on safety measures, which need to be adjusted based on the incident. For example, we may need to manage control from the elements, like rain or heat from lighting, traffic management, or even ensuring accountability of personnel. It's crucial that we keep track of who's on scene and where they are at all times. Another key aspect of scene management is evacuation. We need to be ready to consider and implement an evacuation plan if new hazards arise or if the situation worsens. Everyone should be briefed on evacuation protocols, so if the need arises, we can move swiftly and safely. Also, we use LCES in every training and emergency situation. LCES stands for Lookouts, someone observing for dangers. Communications, ensuring clear and effective communication. Escape routes, making sure everyone knows how to leave the area quickly. Safe zones, areas where personnel can regroup and be protected. Finally, FEMA and Urban Search and Rescue, USAR, have established preset signals for evacuation, ceasing operations, and resuming operations. These are used in all rescue operations, and they go like this. Evacuate. 3 short blasts, 1 second each. Cease operations. 1 long blast, 3 seconds. Resume operations. 1 long and 1 short blast. In any rescue situation, the first thing we need to do is control and limit access to the site. This isn't just about managing the area, but ensuring that only those who need to be there are in harm's way. For awareness-level rescuers, the focus should be on staying away from hazards and helping keep others away. Your role here is to observe, report, and assist, not to engage with the hazards directly. The key is to remain alert and let the more experienced rescuers handle the dangerous parts. As you move into operations-level or technician-level roles, you'll be trained to approach hazards differently. You'll use specific methods and tools that match your training and the risks at hand. At these levels, you are expected to engage directly with the hazards, using techniques that mitigate the danger while ensuring the safety of your team. Managing hazards effectively at the awareness level plays a critical role in the overall success of the mission. While you're not jumping into action, your vigilance keeps the environment safe for those who are actively working. And remember, whether you're awareness level or operations level, your goal is always the same. Make sure the right people are in the right place and everyone is constantly reassessing safety. Now, before we wrap this up, why did the rope rescuer bring a pair of scissors to the scene? Because they wanted to cut down on the risk. When it comes to personal protective equipment, PPE, the environment plays a big role in determining what's appropriate for the task at hand. The type of rescue you're involved in, the environment, and the identified hazards will dictate what PPE is needed. For awareness-level rescuers, the focus is on basic PPE. You're not expected to be in the immediate danger zone, but you should always be prepared and properly protected. For awareness level, the basic PPE includes appropriate clothing. Ensure you're wearing clothes suitable for the conditions, whether that's durable, weather-appropriate, or high-visibility attire. Footwear. Sturdy, slip-resistant boots are a must. You'll be on your feet for extended periods and need to avoid any slip-ups in hazardous environments. In addition to appropriate clothing and footwear, basic PPE for awareness-level rescuers includes gloves. Protect your hands from sharp objects, debris, or environmental elements. Gloves also help with grip when handling equipment. Eye protection. Whether it's dust, debris, or hazardous materials, protecting your eyes is essential in any rescue operation. A clear understanding of NFPA guidelines for responder capabilities is essential in rope rescue operations. These guidelines help us know what we're trained to do and what we're expected to handle during different rescue situations. For awareness-level rescuers, your primary goal is to prevent further harm to the subject. This includes identifying the hazards around you, notifying others of those hazards, and isolating the danger zone to ensure no one else is put at risk. The idea is to keep everyone safe, including yourself, while waiting for higher-level rescuers to take over. You'll initiate the response at a level that you're trained and prepared for. As an awareness-level rescuer, your role will typically be supportive. This could involve managing the scene, assisting with communication, or ensuring that proper resources are activated until more qualified rescuers arrive. When you move up to the operations level, your responsibilities increase. You'll be involved in performing rigging to move rescuers or subjects to safety, using ropes and other tools to access difficult locations. At this level, you'll work to reach the subject using conventional methods like stairways, ladders, or trails, whatever is safest and most efficient. Once you've made contact with the subject, your job is to remove them from their environment using rope rescue techniques. Operations-level rescuers also establish anchorage for the rope systems and carry out lowering and raising operations to move subjects in or out of a dangerous environment. At the technician level, rescuers are expected to work independently and perform complex tasks while suspended by a rope system. This means you may have to climb, rig, and maneuver in environments where you're relying on your rope system for both safety and access. Technician-level rescuers are expected to be adept with a variety of technical rope skills. Some of the key techniques you'll be using include highline, a horizontal rope system used to transfer rescuers or subjects across an area, typically used when there's no stable ground below. Sloping highline, a variation of the highline system that's used when you need to manage a rope system on a slope, often utilized in mountainous or hilly terrains. Guiding line, a secondary line used to guide rescuers or the subject to safety, typically used when additional control is needed in tight or hazardous environments. Skate block, a type of system used to help move a subject or rescuers across a slope, often used to reduce friction and make the operation smoother. Crosshaul, a method used to move a subject or equipment horizontally, usually when the subject needs to be transferred across a gap or obstacle. These technical skills allow technician-level rescuers to manage more complex rescues, including working with suspended loads, handling multiple hazards, and managing vertical or horizontal movements during the rescue. This level requires an understanding of advanced rigging techniques, as well as the ability to adapt to challenging and dynamic environments. Additional key skills for technician-level rescuers include lead climbing and work positioning for accessing difficult-to-reach subjects, high-angle and low-angle rescue techniques, depending on the environment, rope systems for hauling, lowering, and ascending, managing multiple hazards, such as moving subjects, unstable terrain, or fluctuating environmental conditions. The Incident Action Plan, IAP, is the collective plan generated by the Incident Commander, IC. It's used to provide structure, clarity, and coordination during an operation. For small incidents, the plan might only need to be verbal. However, when the incident spans multiple operational periods or involves multiple agencies, a written IAP ensures continuity of information, making sure everyone is on the same page. The IAP includes objectives for the operational period, plans to support these objectives with the available resources, a comprehensive list of tactics, resources, and support needed to accomplish the goal. Keep in mind that an IAP is a living document. It evolves as new information comes in, so don't be afraid to update it as the situation changes. FEMA has created a range of forms to assist in writing IAPs, making it easier to create a cohesive and structured plan. These forms help standardize the process, especially when multiple agencies or responders are involved. One tool FEMA created to guide consistent planning is the Planning P mnemonic. It's a simple, effective way to help responders remember key steps for developing a solid IAP. When developing the IAP, we use SMART objectives to ensure clarity and achievability. These are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Using SMART objectives in an IAP helps everyone understand what needs to be done, how to measure progress, and when to reassess if things aren't working as expected. Each operational period begins with a briefing where command and general staff present the objectives. This briefing also covers current situation updates, communication protocols, safety concerns. This ensures that everyone involved is aligned on the goals and the current status of the operation. Communication is key to keep things running smoothly. Incident planning forms are created by FEMA to help implement ICS, create IAPs, and document the progression of an incident. These forms are best used by those with experience or training in ICS, ensuring that the process is followed correctly. They provide a standardized format, making sure operations are consistent and allowing for better mutual aid coordination. Remember, the goal of the IAP is not to add unnecessary complexity. It's to help facilitate the rescue and ensure everything works as smoothly as possible. When working on a search and rescue operation, the last mnemonic helps break the operation into manageable phases. Locate. Find the subject. This can be quick if they're in plain sight, or extensive if they're not. The environment should dictate your approach. Access. Once located, gaining access to the subject is the next priority. This might involve specialized tools or techniques depending on the terrain or situation. Stabilize. Ensure the subject is safe from further harm. This might mean securing them from a fall, providing basic medical care, or removing them from hazardous environments. Transport, the final step, which could range from loading them into a vehicle to complex evacuations requiring technical rescue techniques. These 4 steps ensure a well-organized and effective rescue, no matter the complexity of the situation. The operational periods for these tasks can vary. Some rescues may take just an hour, while others may require multiple periods to complete. The after-action review is a critical process for continuous improvement following any incident, including training. It provides the opportunity to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and how to improve in the future. Effective debriefing does more than just review the situation. It helps us identify and affirm good practices that should be continued. Evaluate operational efficiency to see where improvements can be made. Identify opportunities for growth both individually and as a team. Maintain team and individual focus, ensuring everyone stays aligned on the mission. Motivate rescuers towards self-improvement so they can perform better in future operations. Prepare for the next rescue by making sure lessons learned are applied. Debriefing comes in 2 parts, an immediate hot debrief and a more structured debrief later on. The hot debrief should happen right after every incident. This is an informal, quick meeting where all involved personnel get together to reflect on the operation while it's still fresh in everyone's mind. During this debrief, we focus on answering questions like, what was the mission? How did we achieve it? Where could improvement have been made? It's important to focus on what happened, not who was responsible. Pointing fingers doesn't help the team improve. The hot debrief, also called a hot wash, should be conducted after every incident. It includes all individuals and agencies involved, so everyone can offer their input and perspectives. This immediate feedback helps reinforce good practices while identifying areas for improvement. It's all about making sure the lessons learned are fresh and actionable. If the hot debrief reveals areas that require further attention, a structured debrief is necessary. This is a more formal review, typically conducted after the dust settles, to dive deeper into the incident. The structured debrief may be safety-related or focus on room for improvement. It requires preparation and often delves into specific issues that need attention. Be sure to conduct this as soon as practical after the incident. If sensitive information is involved, having a third-party facilitator present ensures the process stays objective. Remember, this should not be used to air grievances or push agendas. Now let's talk about the Threat and Error Management System, TEMS, which is a key tool for keeping focus on critical issues during the review process. TEMS helps identify and manage potential threats or errors that could lead to unsafe outcomes. It's integrated into every operation and ensures we remain proactive in handling risks. There are 3 main components of TEMS. Threats. These are external factors that pose hazards beyond our control, such as environmental factors, traffic, or bystanders. Errors. These are actions taken by rescuers that result in undesired outcomes. This could be deviation from protocol or failure to perform a task as expected. Undesired states. These are operational conditions where safety is compromised, usually just before an incident or accident. Ineffective threat or error management often leads to this. The 5 whys is a powerful tool to help identify the root cause of a problem by asking why 5 times. This technique, created by Taichi Ono of Toyota, is designed to get to the heart of the issue. For example, if a rescue pack is missing, we ask why. Why? The pack wasn't resupplied after the last incident. Why? It was left in the vehicle. Why? There was no formal equipment check-in after the incident. Why? It wasn't necessary in the past. Why? The team was smaller, and the informal process was sufficient. By the end of this process, we've dug deep enough to find the underlying cause, not just a surface-level symptom. Let's look at a specific example using the 5 whys technique. Let's say the rescue pack was missing. Using the 5 whys, we work backwards. Why? The pack was not resupplied after the last incident. Why? The pack was left in the vehicle. Why? There was no formal equipment check-in after the incident. Why? It wasn't necessary in the past. Why? The team was smaller, and the informal process was sufficient. This analysis shows how a small gap in the process turned into a bigger issue. The 5 whys help identify root causes and give us an actionable plan for corrective measures. A well-written pre-plan provides a foundation for developing an Incident Action Plan, IAP. The incident-specific IAP begins forming with the first responders on scene. Awareness-level rescuers provide critical initial information that ensures resources are deployed safely and effectively for the environment and hazards present. Activating the appropriate emergency response system varies by jurisdiction, but typically involves contacting dispatch to request resources. The command structure reflects NIMS principles: flexibility, standardization, and unity of effort. The Incident Command System, ICS, can scale from single-subject incidents to multiple-subject, multi-agency operations. Awareness-level rescuers play a key role in scene control and perimeter management. Marking and controlling hazard zones protects subjects and bystanders. Primary method of hazard mitigation at this level: stay away from hazards and keep others away. Personal protective equipment, PPE, should match the environment. Rope rescue PPE often differs from fireground PPE unless the rescue occurs in a fireground environment. Awareness level responders operate within their training and preparation limits. Operations level rescuers perform rigging and related operations. Move rescuers or subjects between stable environments. Technician level rescuers work independently while suspended in rope systems. Manage multiple hazards concurrently. Apply advanced rope rescue skills, including highlines, sloping highlines, guiding lines, crosshauls, and technical movement in vertical environments. IAPs document objectives for each operational period and outline plans, tactics, resources, and support needed to meet those objectives. Every incident or training event should include a debrief. Hot debrief: immediate review of operations focusing on what happened. Structured debrief: detailed analysis addressing safety, lessons learned, and improvement opportunities. Bottom line: effective rope rescue operations rely on clear pre-planning, proper PPE, adherence to responder-level skills, scene control, structured ICS management, and post-incident review to ensure rescuer and subject safety.